So I'm here at the University of Oxford. I'm going to be speaking at a conference tomorrow, but before that actually the conference is 2 days, but I wanted to vlog before that. And what's funny is here, while walking around, I passed by University Oxford Press. And I started thinking to myself, you know what? I read so many books that was published by this house. Why don't I do a vlog on like my top 7 books? And you know, people know me for talking about business and entrepreneurship. I read all kinds of books. I read on all kinds of different topics. I love classic American literature like Fahrenheit 451, The Grapes of Wrath, The Invisible Man. I like reading on design. Thanks, Mom. I grew up reading Architectural Digest, so I have this fascination on this topic, whether it's industrial design, whether it's graphic design, typography, just all kinds of things that have come through the way of, that actually falls under the rubric of design. I read on topics like autobiographies. I really like biographies. Ramanujan, he didn't go here to Oxford, but the mathematical genius from India who actually went to the University of Cambridge, here in the UK as well, but not here in Oxford. Religion, Muhammad by Martin Lings, Confucianism, Taoism, and all kinds of stuff. So I read on all kinds of subject matters and topics, but I think for these 7 books, what came to mind is, let me just stick to like what my brand is, right? My brand is business, entrepreneurship. So what I'm gonna actually talk about, or actually give you the list of, is my 7 top books in terms of business, self-help, growth, development. I'll list my favorite 7, and you guys, I hope in the video or in the comment section, you guys will list your 7 that you like too, or your favorite books, so I can learn from you guys and be introduced to new subjects or new topics or even new books. But let's just jump into them. I won't have them in any particular order. I'll just say the 7 that first came to my heart and mind. After I wrote down the 7, I realized all these other books started to come to my mind, and I said, no, these were the first 7, so I'm going to talk about these 7 in the realm of business and self-help and development and growth. I'm going to go with this, and if I want to add on, I'll make another vlog later on, but these were the first 7 that came to my mind, so I'll go with it. No particular order. Number 1 was Informal Logic. This was a recommendation by my friend Edgar. Thanks, bro. And it's a good book which talks about the fallacies of argumentation. It's a good way if you want to win arguments. And you see how you can actually, it gives you tactics on how to speak to people, how to win, how to trap people, how to have people see it your way. It's a really good book. Another book is How to Lie with Statistics with Daryl Huff. This is something that I was introduced to while I was doing my MBA, because as I think Jay-Z said it, or rappers have said it, women lie, men lie, but numbers don't. No, actually you can lie with numbers, and it's actually very convincing when you can lie with numbers. So statistics is a great way to lie. And this is a book by Huff, How to Lie with Statistics. I encourage everyone to read on it. And after I was introduced to the idea and read on it, wow, I became really particular when I was presented with graphs, with pie charts, with all the different ways of presenting statistics. I would always take a step back, slow it down, and look at the numbers, look at the years, look at the x-axis, the y-axis, because you can lie quite convincingly with statistics. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Who doesn't like that book? It was actually suggested to me by my cousin Joel. Thanks, bro. There's actually other books that I came up with the list that you gave to me, because it was actually very, how can I say this, moving for me. Coming back from overseas, you gave me a whole list of books. I'm like, hey man, you want to become a millionaire? These are the books you want to read. And yeah, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It starts off, what really caught me, it's a great book, but what really caught me was when he was speaking about his son, who was born with no ears. He had this disability of not speaking, mute, and he taught his son how to make this quote-unquote liability and turned it into an asset. And from that, it was in the beginning of the book, it just caught me. It's a great book. I think you should all read it. It's a good way just to, turn everything that you may see or society may see as negative, turn it into something positive. The next book that came to my mind was Business Adventures by John Brooks. It was a book that was recommended to me by people, and I Googled it. I found out that it happens to be actually the favorite book of Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. I didn't want them to persuade me into thinking that it was already good, so I just try to go in with an open mind. But it's actually the title. It's Business Adventures. It talks about Xerox. It talks about GE. And for some reason, it was reminiscent of the books I read of Malcolm Gladwell, where it's just stories of businesses, how they made it, different things that they did, how they weathered particular scandals, their fast rise. It's a great book. I think that you should read it if you want to understand how, companies can face a problem, can face an issue, and then actually make that a point of momentum for themselves. It's a good book to read. The fifth book, Art of War by Sun Tzu. I don't know of anyone in business who hasn't read it. Great book, man. The aphorisms that he lays out by Mr. Sun Tzu, fantastic in terms of just understanding life, understanding business. Know your enemy, win 50% of the fights. Know yourself, win 100% of the fights. All these different tactics that help you in the business setting or just in life. Sun Tzu, Art of War. It's just a no-brainer. I think everyone should read it. An odd one. Thanks, Joel. This is your book that you recommended to me, by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages. I think it's a great book. Pardon what I'm about to say. I've read a lot of books on love, but this one, I don't know, it really resonated with me. As he says in one part, he says like a lot of the other books will speak about the different dialects of love, but I'm going to actually speak to you about the main languages and the 5, which you can Google it, but I'll give it to you quickly because I remember them like the back of my hand. Number 1 is acts of service. There's no order, but physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, and quality time. And the way that you can find out what is your particular love language is the way you like to express it. So I don't want to get too much into it. So for example, if you notice that your spouse, your significant other likes to give you gifts, they're a person that likes to receive gifts. So that's how you love them. So it's not about how you love people, but loving them the way they want to be loved. So you may think like, what does the 5 love languages have to do with business and self-help? Well, business is all about relationships. And when you know how someone likes to be loved or likes to be appreciated, that's how you're able to navigate the murky waters of business and of life. Because relationships are all about business, as I said. For example, I'll just give you a quick one and then jump to my last book. I used to have a job like more than 10 years ago, but I've been pretty much fired from every job that I've had, so that's a whole other vlog. But I remember the last job I had, the day I was hired, my manager wanted to speak to me, and I felt that he kept tapping me. And he's just like, hey, check this out. Hey, this project we're going to do. He kept touching me everywhere. And I realized this is a guy whose love language is physical touch. He just wants to keep touching. Hey, check this out. Hey. And I realized to make him feel appreciated, to make him feel loved, I got to do the same thing, which helps because one of my love languages is physical touch. And a person can be fluent in many languages, but there's one main language. I don't want to spoil too much of the book for you. And the last book, which I feel is probably a book that is an absolute must read, it's been translated into a gazillion different languages, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I don't know what else to say. I think the book speaks for itself. It's such a fantastic book. It's funny because I want to take a step back because when I think about the title, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and all the other ones, you may think, Muhammad may be, or anyone who reads these books, may be thinking of just how to be a manipulator. The key thing you need to recognize if you want to use any of these books or any of these tactics of how to have people believe in your dream or your vision or have them give you money or have them help you with your project, you've got to be genuine. I've come to realize throughout my life that human beings are not dumb and they'll know when you're faking it. And people will know when they're being used. They'll know when you're being inauthentic. So in deed and in word, you have to be genuine. So those are my 7, but most importantly, with all those 7, you can use it in your strategy of how to accomplish what you need to accomplish, but you've got to be genuine. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I hope that wasn't too long. Coming from Oxford University, peace.